In World War II, the Soviet Union and the Russian military services had included more than 40,000 dogs in their army against the German army. These dogs, used against the German tanks, are remembered as anti-tank dogs. By the way, he was trained for first aid and food delivery during the war. But then the Soviet thought that why not use them to teach German tanks? Once again in the videos of Jabhai Kushhum did. It was such a job for which dogs needed a lot of training. The Soviet army did not have any special training school for training. So in 1935, he also included a circus trainer and many animal scientists with him. The idea was to tie a bomb to a dog and send it to an enemy tank. On reaching there, the dog will pull a laborer with its teeth. There it will fall and then the dog will come back to its trainer. After this the bomb will be detonated through timer or remote control. If we talk about trained German Shepherd, then this task was not difficult for them. A group of dogs was trained, but even after 6 months of training, not a single dog could master the stock. The reason for this was that they were being trained on a standing tank, and when they were given this task as testing at a new location and in front of a moving tank, the dogs got confused as to where to drop the bomb, and there was a good chance that the dogs would bring the bomb back to their trainer in the battlefield. Not only that, if there is a timer bomb in them, then they can come back and sit in the middle of the Soviets. To deal with this issue, a new idea was adopted this time. Such pogs were offered that would explode as soon as they were touched by anything. Obviously the dog will also be killed in this. To turn this new idea into reality, the dogs were first kept hungry and were trained that their food was hanging at the bottom of the tank. As soon as the dog hits the bottom of the tank, the detonator will be under pressure and the dog will be fired. This time the Soviets started giving dogs real battlefield training, in which they were used to jumping under a moving train and were also used to the sounds of gunshots and explosions. The only thing that came out during the training was the bomb planted on them. After several months of training, it was now successful. The dogs themselves had not learned even under a moving tank. Now it was the turn to use them in the real war. 12 kilograms minced meat was put on each dog, and before the launch, the safety pin was also fixed to the removed wood, and such a mechanism was made that as soon as the dogs gave it to the bottom of the tank, the mine on them would explode automatically. Let us tell you here that no matter how strong the elections are from above, 10 can be easily made ineffective by blocking below it. 30 dogs first time. Released on German tanks in 1931. The Soviets had no idea that there was a huge loophole in their training. In the actual battlefield the Soviet-linked dogs even went close to the German tanks, but more often than not refused to jump under the tanks. On the contrary, due to the fire of many German soldiers, after getting the news, they came back to the Soviets and used to burst into the midst of them. Sock could not understand why these dogs were not doing it under the German tent. Now the returning dogs were in the arms of the Soviets. He even decided that any dog that returned would be killed on the way. Out of 30, 4 hit the right target, 3 were killed by the Germans and the rest were captured by the German soldiers. The Soviets still did not know the real reason why the dogs did not jump under the German tanks. They thought that it was less correct, but something or the other the Germans are targeting the tanks. That's why they kept leaving the dead dogs and used to kill those who turned back. On the other hand, the Germans were also well aware of these anti-tank dogs. He used to kill any dog that moved towards him. Here the launched dogs burst into the German tents, which were killed before reaching them, and the remaining dogs that returned were killed by the Soviets. It was hardly the part of history in which the most dogs were slaughtered. It was later learned that the dogs were killed by the Soviets.